All right. Good morning. Welcome back. How's everyone doing today? What's up, Chef? Buon dia. Some pretty key thing going on right now on the NASDAQ. This right here. Pretty key right now. A little break and retest of yesterday's pre-market lows. And you can see, look at this. Very nice. Pretty nice so far. So some nice downside this morning. Looks like Tesla may have sort of sparked that, it looks like. It's just crazy. It's crazy how we just keep going from this supply level back to this demand level, then back up to the supply, back up to the demand. It's been like this like for a week now. This is like really intense up and down over the last week. Do we start to break that? We'll have to see. It's been just in between these levels. Crazy. It's definitely an emotion or mentality game, right? You have to trust that, you can't look for the breakouts or breakdowns, at least for the last week. All right, if you tried to trade the breakout of supply, you lost. If you tried to trade the breakdown of demand, you lost. It's hard you got to really train your brain during a time period like this. But today looks a little bit different. Today looks like we're potentially starting to maybe move out of this demand level to the downside, potentially breaking it. So this is interesting. So maybe a little bit of a switch up here, right? Maybe a little bit of a switch up here. So we'll see. We'll see what today holds. So we had Tesla earnings last night. This morning we had TSM earnings, which I think were decent. I think TSM is holding up this morning. Yeah, TSM's up a little bit this morning. Yeah, happy 420. Yeah. Miami's probably going to be, it's going to be real loud today in Miami, I'm sure. if I go outside, it might be dangerous. How'd everyone do yesterday? I took a loss yesterday. Yesterday was a red day for me. We can maybe go over, if we have time, we'll go over that Netflix trade I took yesterday. It was a losing trade. It was a nice setup. I was, really happy with the setup. Really happy with what I was looking at. I read the market really well, right? I was looking for upside on the NASDAQ, upside on the ES off those demand levels. Got that really nicely. And Netflix just did not want to move with the market. So, yeah, unfortunate. Probably would have been better just trading the SPY or the QQQ yesterday, or maybe just switching over to the futures. That would have been, a really nice day for me. But tried to play Netflix on a break and retest, believing that it would move higher with the market, and it just did not move higher with the market. So, hey, that's going to happen, right? We take our losses, we learn from them, and we move on to the next day. That's all we can do. So yesterday was one of those days for me. Took a loss, but excited for today. Could definitely make that money back today on some nice price action, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's get started. Why am I not trading futures anymore? It's too much to trade both. It's, to try to be trading options and trading futures at the same time, you can't spread yourself that thin. If I want to focus on one, I'm going to focus on one that I'm successful at. I'm not going to just keep going. I like to be the master of one, not the jack of all trades. So I don't think many people trade futures and options on an intraday basis. I mean, that's just asking way too much from yourself. We're not, you gotta remember you're human at the end of the day. You can't be sitting here all day. I'm trading options, I'm trading futures, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm here all day. I'm in front of my computer all day. I'm live streaming in the morning. Then I'm making videos at night. I'm trading futures all day, options, this and that. It's that's going to get old real quick. At the end of the day here, we're all human. We do what we can. All right, for me, I've successful trading options. So why change that? But, yesterday was a great day to trade futures for sure, right? Carmine wins yesterday. Me and Carmine always talk about options and futures. Yesterday, Carmine wins, right? Carmine wins the competition yesterday. So some days are good for futures. I think other days are good for options, but, it's going to happen, right? So let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Hope you guys are, doing well today. Today is 4/20, so, if you're celebrating, just maybe don't trade. I don't know if I'd recommend trading after a 4/20 celebration, but hey, you do you. So futures economic earnings calendar. Today we do have jobless claims. So that could be something to watch out for. I don't really think it's that major, but hey, it's jobless claims. We could see, if there's any movement off that this morning. So this is Thursday, April 20th. You guys can see jobless claims, 8:30. We'll see if there's any reaction off that this morning. 10 a.m. existing home sales. You got some Fed governors speaking later on in the day. Christopher Waller, President Loretta Mester. Dallas Fed listens with Dallas Fed President, whatever. Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic. So I don't really think, maybe some intraday reactions off that, but really jobless claims, existing home sales today, and then tomorrow PMI. You can't even see this. You can't even see it. You haven't even seen it the whole time I've been looking at it. Jobless claims, 8:30. Existing home sales, 10 a.m. Some Fed president speaking. And then tomorrow, services PMI. So nothing really major there. Let's go to the earnings calendar. Obviously, yesterday was Tesla. Tesla reported. I think the thing in Tesla's report that concerned people is their free cash flow. Their free cash flow was, they still have a lot of free cash flow. I think it was like up in the, was it 200 billion, 20 billions? It was around there. but it was lower than anticipation. So I don't know if that's really what hurt it, the free cash flow number, the margin number. That's obviously very important. So yesterday, Tesla, I think IBM was higher on earnings. This morning, TSM and American Express and AT&T. After that, I really don't think there's much for you to focus on. Maybe P&G tomorrow, if you're a P&G type of guy. If you're focused on your dividend names. But American Express, TSM was this morning. What did Amex do? American Express is... What is American Express? I don't even... You can tell I don't even look at this stock ever. AXP. A little down. So AXP a little down. TSM. Yeah, a little higher. TSM. A little higher TSM. So not much. Really, the big event was Tesla. The big event was the Tesla earnings, and that is clearly moving lower this morning into a pretty key level, which we're going to talk about today. All right, so let's start with the futures. We're going to go over Tesla earnings, NVIDIA 275, AMD 88 demand, Amazon tried to break over a key level yesterday. It did fall back in under that level, so that was interesting to see. Apple holding still, Meta at 212, and then XLF a little bit strong yesterday. So watch that XLF. So yeah, that's our schedule. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's start with the good old futures. So today, some key things. I think I want to start on the NASDAQ actually, because this is actually the really clean little level here that we're looking at, is on the NASDAQ. So yesterday, what did we do? Right, we had a pre-market downside into the demand of 13,070. We said yesterday on the live stream, be careful going short if the NASDAQ is above 1370 demand, right? And you can see pretty much the entire day, we just got this really slow grind to the upside. I mean, there was not a single red 30-minute candle until 12:30 yesterday. So the first 2-3 hours of the market yesterday was just a straight up 30-minute grind to the upside, right off demand. Now, where did we go to? We went right to supply. I mean, just perfectly right back to supply from demand to supply, right? Very clear, just a perfect little demand hold back into supply. Very nice. Now, after hitting that supply late day, we got a little rejection, right? Pretty much at close, we started to reject that supply, and then you can see, obviously the after hours moving lower. Now, this is the key. Right? This is very, very important here. This is exactly why we're still selling off here. Look at what just happened in the pre-market. We just got a perfect break and retest of yesterday's pre-market lows. That was extremely clean. Right? That is an extremely clean 13,070 previous demand into a rejection point. So, if we are, we have to be very cautious, right? If we trade upside, we have to understand that we are trading upside into a potential supply rejection. So today, if you're under 13,070, if you're under this previous low, you got to be cautious on the upside, right? That is a very clear break and retest rejection of this previous low, right? That is very, very clear. So definitely watch out for that. Jerry, if you want to reach out to me, email me, DM me on Instagram. I can help you. So, double bottom, 13,070. Very, very clear this morning. That is definitely your upside level to watch, right? Extremely clear. 13,070 to around 13,050. You got to watch out for those rejections today. To the downside, right? As we move lower here, we start to come into a pretty important demand down here around 13,000. Really starts around 13,006, but really it's like this 13,000. So I go to the 4-hour chart, right? Yes, we are breaking down this morning. Yes, we are seeing weakness, but if I was to, delete these lines, right, and we were to look at it like this, right, if we were to zoom out and look at it like this, and we zoom out on the 4-hour, I still would say be cautious, right? I would still say be cautious here. We are still above this previous high. We're still above this previous low, this previous low, this previous low, and we're trading right back into it this morning. So, yes, today definitely looks weak. We said the same exact thing yesterday. Today definitely looks weak, right? The price action looks pretty ugly. It looks like it's giving up. And it definitely could cause you to be in your mind saying, this is the one, right? This is the time it breaks down. I could totally understand if that's like sort of in your head this morning, because I see it myself, right? I'm like, oh, this looks a little bit uglier, right? This looks like maybe a drop that could actually start to slip. It looks like it. But can we set up a trade to the short side looking for a break of this demand? I don't know, right? I wouldn't, because I have too much respect in the fact that the market's been really range bound. Every time it looks like it's going to break down, it bounces off demand, and that could very well happen again today, right? That could very well happen again today, down around this 13,000 level. It's really like between 13,000 and 13,000 and 12,950. That's really where it's majority at, right? It's really between this 13,000 and 12,950. So I would just be a tad bit cautious in there, right? If you start to see demand step up in that 13,000, 12,950, just be a little cautious on the short side. I would agree with you that the market looks pretty weak this morning, right? And I would also agree that this rejection that just came in is pretty telling. This right here, this 13,070 rejection is very important this morning, right there. But I think, the people that are going to make the most money, right? You got to think about this. What the hell did I just do? The people that are going to make the most money here are the people that shorted at supply yesterday, right? That's the juicy short. This is the short entry at supply, right? If you're shorting now, you are giving yourself a much lower risk to reward, and you are basically hoping that we break down the 4-hour demand level down here. So, it's tough. It's tough down here. If you respect the channel, that's been in place, you really don't want to start shorting in the bottom, the bottom 25% of this channel. The real short is up here. And the people that made money this morning, right, or are going to make money today, this morning, if they took a swing or they just scalped off these highs, the people that make money on the shorts are shorting here and they're buying here over the last few weeks. The people that are losing money are the ones that are buying here for a breakout and shorting here for a breakdown. I don't know when that changes, right? That could change today, right? That could break down today. This could be a change of this channel. This could be the channel breaking day. But I am just not out here on a daily basis, trying to catch the channel break move. Because if I've done that for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if I've done that for the last 10 trading days, I would have lost 10 days in a row, right? So 13,000, 12,950, 13,2, 13,250 supply. You're coming down into the demand today. Be careful on the short side. You would be shorting into demand, which typically is not a good idea. I would say if you are going to play upside off this demand, you do still have to be cautious of this 13,070 supply, right? So really this morning, it's like 13,000 to around 13,070. That's probably your channel to watch today, all right? So that's the NASDAQ. We can go to the QQQ. If we go to the 4-hour chart, here it is. You got these demands down here, which is the same as that 13,000 area. It's like right in this 313 level, right? Previous highs, previous lows, 313, right? Very key. That's your downside demand. And then this morning's rejection is the same as the NASDAQ, right? It's right at these previous lows. So you have a previous low here, you have a previous low here, you have a previous low here. You break, you retest, you reject. So this is definitely a little bit of a channel break this morning of this little intermediary channel on the QQQ. 319, 316, break and retest of 316, Very key break this morning. So do I see the potential for downside on the Qs, maybe to 313? Yeah, I think that's very possible. That would probably be your move down to like 12,950 here, right? That would probably be your move down to around 12,950 on the futures. So previous demand here at 316 has turned into a rejection this morning. Is there maybe room to the bottom side of this channel around 313? It's possible, right? So look for that today. It's got to stay under 316 though. All right, ES. So the ES, if we go to the 30-minute chart, here's the ES, right? So this morning, it's really like, I mean, I like 4150, but it seems like it's a little bit more of like 4153, to be honest. So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit. This morning, or yesterday at least, I'm going to delete this for now. Yesterday, we went from 4150 demand to 4183 supply, right? 4150 demand to 4183 supply. Perfect demand to supply move. Now this morning, supply rejection, down to this demand again. Now this morning, look at what happened. We broke, we retested, and we rejected the 4152 previous demand. We turned it into a rejection this morning. Very key. The next level to watch to the downside is right here. It's this 4140, right? You can see 4140 is this Friday low from last week, and it's all these previous lows from Tuesday and Wednesday of last week. So watch out for 4140 if you are looking for the downside. So 4140 is your downside demand to watch today if you're short side. To the upside, right? I'm going to turn this red because this is your now new rejection point. Right, you can see right here, this little 4153, previous lows, right? Look at what happened this morning. So very key, right? That is very key. I would be cautious on the upside. I really don't have much interest in upside today unless we see this, right? This would really be the only upside play I'd look for today if we are to reclaim these previous lows. And if we are to reclaim this little pre-market rejection point, this would really be the only, I think, quality long side play today, above 4153. You could try to play off the 4140 bounce, but you're just sort of longing into a pretty weak move. So I don't know if I'd really go for that. You could try that, right, if you really want to get aggressive on it. But I would rather be the guy that waits for this to break above this pre-market high, reclaims this previous lows, and then looks for that upside move. To the short side, I think your best short side play is probably a retest of 4150 again, maybe for another rejection. That's probably one of your better short side plays if we can retest this previous rejection point and do it again, or a break and hold below 4140. All right, a break and hold below Friday's lows. That's your other nice short side play. All right, so 4140, 4150, that's your little 10-point range on the ES today. I would be careful shorting into the 4140 Friday lows. I don't know if that's really that great of a risk reward for you there. I would probably wait for that to turn into a rejection point today, or I would look for the retest of 4150 for a rejection back to the downside. Those are really the two short side plays I'd look for. If you get above 4150 today, you still have to watch out for 4165, 4170, right? That is still a very big level above, right? You can clearly see this was it's still a very important level above here. That's why I had this in my chart previously. So right in here, you still got to watch out for this. This would pretty much what? This would pretty much be just a gap fill, right? Up to this 4175. Pretty close to it. If we go to the SPY and we turn off the extended hours and we go to the, oh, we can't see it because we're in the, damn it. Yeah, where are we trading right now? We're trading at 411.20. Yeah, so I mean, if you hold this 411 demand down here on the SPY, I know you can't see it on the chart right now because I turned off extended hours. But you can see, right, yesterday we dropped and we filled the gap. Today we dropped, right? This is sort of the price action right now. And there's pretty much, I guess we can do this. I'm trying to illustrate a gap here, but it's not going to be very pretty. There's going to be a gap here this morning, right? There's going to be a gap here this morning on the SPY. So do we try to do that same type of gap fill? We'll see, right? We'll see. So if I put back on the after hours, show extended hours trading, this is going to be your gap this morning, right? This entire area is not going to show up if you take off extended hours. So this is going to be your gap on the SPY into that 414. That's pretty much what we did yesterday. We just filled the gap. So on the SPY, the levels to watch today, if we go to the hourly chart, right, here's your hourly on the SPY. You can see that demand is definitely apparent down here at 411, right? That's as clear as day. I'm not going to short into 411 on the SPY. And then to the upside, 414, right? So you can see that the SPY is actually finding a little bit of a bid right now at 411, right? You can see it right there. You're starting to see a little bit of a pop off that 411 demand on the SPY. So are you going to short into Monday's lows? All right. Do you really want to short into Monday's lows? Not really, right? Not really at 411. So I would want to see, if you want to look for downside on the SPY today, I would want to see 411 turn into a pretty key rejection point. If we break under 411, if we turn it into a rejection, then I think you could have your downside play. But until that happens, you are shorting into a Monday low, which may not be your best idea, especially with what we've seen on this market. All right. So on the ES, right, watch out for that 4150. Watch out for that Wednesday low rejection. And you can see the discrepancy right now on the SPY versus ES. All right, here's your Monday low on the ES. It's around this 4150, right? Monday low 4150 on the ES. If we go to the SPY, the Monday low was, we are trading above the Monday low right now. So this is one of those days where I've seen recently where I have to watch both the ES and the SPY together. Because if I don't watch the SPY, right, and I say, I'm going to look for the S&P futures to reject Monday's lows or even Friday's lows, and I look to short here, I would technically be shorting with the SPY holding above Monday's lows. So there's a discrepancy here. It's tough, right? It's tough because if you're, it's not lining up on the ES and the SPY, as you guys can see. The SPY is above Monday's lows. The ES is below Monday's lows. So a little bit of a discrepancy there. I would maybe just sort of monitor both today and see which one takes a little bit more importance. I would keep both up on your charts. I don't like when that happens. I've seen it happen a few times, and I really don't like to see that because you don't know which one to trust, right? You don't know whether the SPY above Monday lows is going to hold and move the ES higher. You don't know if the ES rejection of Monday's lows is going to move the SPY lower. It's very difficult. You really got to monitor both. All right, so that's the futures. I guess we can go to the YM real quick. Yeah, this is a pretty key rejection on the Dow Jones this morning. All right, you guys can see right here. All these previous lows. Look at that break and retest, right? Look at that break and retest to the downside. So YM, right? Support. This big demand zone. Look at what it's doing this morning. Break and retest rejection. So watch out for that 33,000. It's right around the 33,900 area. Watch out for these previous lows to turn into a rejection today. On the Russell, you can see we are rejecting that 1800 level we talked about right here. So we are still sort of rejecting this 1800 supply up here. So watch out for that 1800 still. All right, let's continue. We got jobless. We'll just wait for jobless claims here over the next few minutes. Let's just take a look at the ES futures again. Why not? So yeah, you can see still under that 4150. It's right in here. That's really going to be my main area to watch today to see how the market reacts. How does the market react if we trade back into this zone? That's the really, really big key today. That will guide your trading day. Same thing with the NASDAQ. How does the NASDAQ react when it trades back into 13,070 today? Does the NASDAQ come back into this level and reject, or does the NASDAQ reclaim this level? Right? These are really the main things that need to be on your watch, no matter what you're trading today, right? Whether you're trading futures, whether you're trading options, you have to be paying attention to, right, what the market does at yesterday's lows on the NASDAQ at 13,070. That is very important. That will definitely guide your decisions today. At least they should guide your decisions. All right. So we got a few minutes until jobless claims here. I guess we'll just keep up this NASDAQ futures, and we'll see what the reaction here is here in a few minutes, or actually in 30 seconds. If you guys could press that like button while we wait for the jobless claims, that would be fantastic. I guess we'll go to SPY because that's going to give us that data real quick. Go to that live news. All right, 10 seconds. Quick 10 seconds to press the like button. All right. Looks like a little bit of a push higher on the SPY there. Nothing major. Waiting for the data. There it is. Okay, jobless claims, 245 versus 240, so slightly higher. Higher jobless claims is bullish, I guess you could say. I don't really know how the market takes it. I don't know if it's going to continue to take it that way, but, we need to weaken the jobs market. That's pretty much what the Fed has said. So more jobless claims, it's pretty much flat. I mean, it's really nothing. You're getting a little bit of a reaction off of it. But look, you're rejecting that level again. Look at the level you just rejected again. So big rejection of that level. Yeah, look at that. Look at the NASDAQ. Right back into that 13,070. So we know, right? We know now from this little view right now, we can see, we need to understand this. We cannot be long into this 13,070. We just can't do it, right? If we are long, if you start to see, right, this is what you have to think about, right? You market opens, bell rings, Nvidia, Tesla, AMD, Apple, they're all flying to the upside. Everything's going straight up on the first minute candle. And the NASDAQ is right here, right? And you're just sort of doing this. Little sneaky NASDAQ right at 1370, right? But AMD, Apple, Tesla, all flying. I'm buying calls. I'm chasing the upside. And the NASDAQ is still under 1370. And then 5 minutes pass, bam, right? Supply rejection. And then Apple, bam. Nvidia, bam. Tesla, bam, right? That happens so much, right? This is why you have to watch the futures. You get those fake bull traps in the morning on those individual stocks. People chase it early morning. NASDAQ and ES still under supply. They reject supply, and there's a huge reversal on the individual stocks. That is how you avoid bull traps, right? Or even bear traps, is you focus on the futures levels, right? It happens almost every morning. So really focus on those futures. All right? So let's continue. Tesla. Good old Tesla. All right, so do I think you can short Tesla this morning? No. Here's why. Right? Here is why. I don't think you can short Tesla this morning because you are coming right into this 162 to 165 demand zone. What's really 163 to 165? You have previous big bounce here, a previous bounce here, and then a previous little, or I guess you're coming down into it right now. So, do you want to short Tesla this morning into this double bottom low? I wouldn't. But you could, right, if you just sort of hate Tesla and you just want it to go lower and you think it's just going to slide through it, you could sort of start that short this morning into demand. I personally would not, the way I trade. I would look for it to break below this low right here. What is this low? This is 162.78. 162.78. I'm not a Tesla bull. I do own shares, but what I am is I'm not a short seller into demand. That's what I am. I am not a short seller into demand. So I'm not going to short sell into this double bottom demand. If we break below 162.78, which is this low right here, then I can see, the slippery action coming in. You could probably even see this thing down to like 145, right? There's really not much here until 145. So 162.78, right? That is the low of this demand zone. That is the low of this demand zone at 162.78, right? So we need to see this break. We need to see this turn into a rejection. If we break that and we start to move lower under that demand, right, that could definitely get pretty slippery on Tesla, right? Look at this mark. Look at this 4-hour chart. Look at this 4-hour chart. Look at the price action under 162.78. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. So just watch that little double bottom demand here on Tesla. I would not short Tesla into these lows after an earnings drop, after we just dropped 13%. There's no reason to be, chasing Tesla puts this morning after we just dropped 13% into demand. Wait for it to break, wait for it to turn into rejections, and then there's plenty of downside here to catch. Right? You don't need to be the one that shorts it into the demand today. So watch 163, 165 area. Keep an eye on that zone this morning, all right? Hey, and Tesla has the weakness to just slide right through it. So I'm not saying it can't slide right through it, but I just want to make sure you're aware of it. It could definitely just be a slip and slide to the downside. I've seen it plenty of times. NVIDIA still holds on. It still holds on. I don't know what keeps it going, but it still holds on. So it's really between like this 273. It's like 60. It's really between like this low here, all these lows here. It's really like this 2-point range, $1.50 point range here on NVIDIA. Support. This morning comes back to 275. It's actually pushing to the upside this morning, right? So NVIDIA just continues to show you that you can't short it. If you short it, you got to be real precise. You got to possibly look for shorts around this 280, and you can't hold it that long, right? You got to be a quick scalper here off 280. If NVIDIA can somehow lose 275s, even like these 273 lows, then yeah, maybe you can get that downside into 270 again, right? But NVIDIA has been very resilient. I don't think there's any reason to try to be the person that shorts a very strong name. It's clearly holding up still. So just watch out for 275. This is definitely some demand here. All right, this is definitely your rejection here up here at 280. As of right now, you're just sort of sitting in the middle of this channel. So today, what would I look for? I'd look for either a demand bounce of 273, 275, or I'd look for another fake push into 280 and maybe a supply rejection. Other than that, you look for the break and retest of either side. But right now, basically what I take away from this is don't look for NVIDIA shorts. That's not going to be my greatest idea, right? It's clear that NVIDIA just does not want to give up. And this 275 level is pretty major. It's not just some kind of short-term level. All right, if we go to the 4-hour chart, this 275 level has held up for some time now. It's been about, a month almost. So 275, 275, 275, and now we're holding that 275. So just be careful shorting into this 275 demand. All right. AMD. AMD is starting to it's starting to baseline. So it's interesting here. I'm interested to see what AMD does at this 88, 89 zone. You guys can see these wicks starting to show up at this 88, 89 demand on AMD. So you can see this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is yesterday, and right now we're sort of sitting right back at it around 88, 89. This is, right, this 88, 89 level is your previous highs, right? Your previous highs right here is right here, right? That is why we are attempting to hold this zone. So if you're on the short side of AMD, right, just watch out for these previous highs. You have previous highs here around 88 to 89. It's about a dollar point range, and you're just sort of sitting above them, right? You've had 3 days of sort of sitting above that level. Now, I'm trying not to get myself too bullish on AMD, but if you look at what happened on the previous pushes, right, basically what you got is like a multi-week or multi-day hold of the previous highs. So you can see you held this previous high for multiple days, and then you finally pushed off of it. The previous one, right, you had previous highs here, and you held that previous high for multiple days. So are you starting to see the same thing here? Are you starting to see AMD start to baseline at this 88, 89? I don't know, but that is sort of what I'm starting to notice. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to see if this 88, 89 wants to hold on. It's the previous highs here. If you do lose 88, then I think that you probably see downside continuation. So I think that 88 level is going to be very key to monitor on AMD. That is the previous highs. You're starting to baseline. Over the last few days, you're starting to see some sideways action. So keep an eye on that 88. I think that's your major, major level. Yeah, I think someone told me this is an SMA as well. Yeah, it is. So if I go to the 4-hour chart, you guys can see this is also the 50 SMA right here. So the 50 SMA is sort of curling up and sort of hugging AMD's price action right now. It's just sort of holding it right there. That's that 50 SMA. So interesting, right? Interesting level. So keep an eye on that one. Amazon, it did try, and it actually did an awesome retest, man. Intraday, we were in the chat, and congrats to you guys that called this one. You called this beautifully. I saw you guys talking about it. So the previous high on Amazon was 104.25, right? 104.25 was the exact previous high here back in the 5th of April. Back on the 5th of April, we saw a previous high here, and then we saw a rejection. We saw a previous high here, and we saw a rejection. Now, yesterday, look at this little break and retest yesterday of the exact level, 104.25. Look how clean this was, right? We broke it. We held above it. We pushed. You came back down to it. Look at this, right? So a pretty nice hold of the previous highs right here yesterday on Amazon. That was pretty textbook stuff, right? 104.25 break and retest. Really nice little hold there for some continuation late day. Now you can see today, unfortunately, for anyone that's long Amazon, it's back under supply. So you are right back under, right, that rejection point. You're right back under this supply here. You're right back under this rejection here, right? And you are sitting right back under it once again today. So I would say if Amazon can push back into this 104.25, I think you can look for the rejection, right? If today's not as strong, I think you can look for that. I think that's definitely a setup that I'll be watching today, monitoring today, to see if Amazon wants to push back into the 104s, 104.25s, and if it wants to reject that level. That's definitely a watch that I will have today if we get some upside. If we get back above this level, this could be interesting again, right? If we start to turn this into support again, this could be interesting again. So really watching that 104.25 on Amazon. All right. Apple's still holding this little key level here, and I'm a little bit upset about my trading yesterday, and I'll sort of talk through it. I went long Apple off 165 yesterday. Actually, 166. I'll go to the 2-minute chart. We took a pretty killer Apple long side trade yesterday, and I just didn't, I don't know. I didn't trust it enough. I sort of took profits, and I just got out of there with some profits, but I could have trusted it more. I didn't do as good of a job of executing it yesterday. So yesterday, we got a nice break and hold above 166. This was a really key level that I was watching. It was from, if I go back to the hourly chart, this 166 had some previous rejections, right? 166 rejections, some support here. So I said if I can see a hold above 166, I will look to go long Apple with the stop loss under it. So we took that trade yesterday, right here. Got some nice profit on it. You can see the break and retest of 166. Got some profit on it, but didn't really trust it into this 167, so I was sort of scaling out. And Apple was just a beast yesterday, right? Got over 167, even held 167 as demand. It held 166 as demand and 167 as demand intraday yesterday. So that was a very strong move on Apple yesterday. Now, if we go out to the 15-minute chart, we can see Apple is back at 166, right? It is right back at that 166. So I'm just going to sort of monitor to see what it does at 166 today, see if it holds above, if it rejects it, right? Which way does it want to go off 166? If I see it hold above, you can maybe look for that 167 move again. If it turns into a rejection, you could probably look for that 165 move. All right, so just keep an eye on that 166 today on Apple. That's going to be your key level to watch. All right, Meta. So Meta back at that 212. This is going to be sort of interesting today to watch. You guys can see right here, Meta after breaking. Oh, I didn't even realize this retest yesterday. Wow. Did anyone catch this retest on Meta? I did not realize that happened. That was clean. But anyways, Meta, you guys saw the breakdown yesterday. We got a beautiful retest of 217 yesterday. Man, did I miss that. Nice push in the 217 on Meta. Look at that rejection. We talked exactly about this trade yesterday. Shit. Yeah, that was nice. So, previous highs, right? Previous highs. Look at this retest on Meta yesterday, intraday. If I go to the 5-minute chart, wow. The exact high. Shit, man. Nice. So, 217 retest, really nice yesterday. I'm just sort of... This is the first time I saw it, so I'm sort of shocked by it. But nice rejection off that 217. And then today, we are at the 212 demand. So remember that 212 level has held up in the past. Look at the 212 again. So watch for that 212 demand today. If you are short Meta, just be careful of that 212. It could hold up today, right? It's very possible. Keep an eye on 212 for the downside. If you break under 212, maybe 210, but look to see if 212 holds on Meta. I think right now on Meta, you're just in this 5-point range. You're between 212 and 217. So keep an eye on that channel. All right, wanted to jump over the XLF real quick. The XLF, it was a little strong yesterday, giving some back this morning, but it's still sort of stuck under this 33. This is actually sort of interesting. So we talked about this chart in the past. We talked about this chart a few days back. Previous lows, and you have retested this previous low. All right, so what does the XLF decide to do here? This is going to be pretty important, I believe, for the market. If you cannot get above this previous low here, see this previous low? If you cannot get a strong move above this previous low, XLF could start to find some weakness here. And you're starting to see it slow down a little bit. So keep an eye on this on the XLF. If you are watching JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, if you're watching some of the banks, this 33.30 level looks pretty important for the XLF. And it's starting to slow down a little bit here. So keep an eye on that over the next few days on the XLF. We can jump over into Google real quick. You guys can see right here. You have this little double bottom low on Google around 104, right? You see that? It held nicely yesterday, and it's actually holding again today. So watch that 104 demand on Google. First rejections to watch are up here around 104.80, and then the next one is to watch around this 105.60. So Google 104 demand, watch this 104.80, watch this 105.60. Those are your next two supplies above. But that 104 demand is pretty nice. Did we go over Netflix? We didn't. Let's go over Netflix. So we'll end the stream with me doing a little trade recap of my trade on Netflix yesterday and how I lost. Why not, right? So let's do that. We'll talk about my losing trade on Netflix, and then we'll get out of here. So here's a little thought behind my trade yesterday, what was going through my head, how did I take my loss, sort of what went wrong, et cetera, et cetera. So yesterday, right? I was watching the ES. I was watching the NASDAQ. I said I sort of like the longs on the market with the ES, holding this 4150. Actually, I sort of want to use the NASDAQ for this example. So the NASDAQ, right? I was watching the NASDAQ yesterday, and I said I sort of like the longs. The NASDAQ looks pretty strong, right? And I'm seeing this retest of this 13,126, right? Right here yesterday on the NASDAQ. Intraday, we were sort of trading sideways, and then we get this break and retest of this 13,126. And I'm like, all right, I like this, right? I think the market wants to hold this previous high, and I think that could lead to further upside. And I was exactly right on that, right? I was pretty much spot on that market upside. Now, if we go to Netflix, right, and we sort of look at what was going on at Netflix at that time, it all lined up beautifully. But maybe I was just wrong by playing the stock that had earnings. So right here on Netflix, right, what was it doing at that same time? At that same time, I was looking at a break and retest of the previous highs, right, on Netflix. Look how similar that looked to the NASDAQ, right? A break, a retest of 322, previous intraday highs, break and retest, and I started to take some longs in this area. Right, I was like, all right, let me go long here. I like the risk reward. I like what the NASDAQ's doing. And I was looking for the NASDAQ upside, which we saw yesterday right here, to cause Netflix to do the same, right? I was looking for Netflix to curl off this and push to the upside with the NASDAQ. Did not happen, right? Did not happen at all. The NASDAQ was going up, and Netflix just tanked right here. I got stopped out right under this 322 level, like around this 321.60. Had to take my loss. Unfortunate. I would not change a thing about the trade, and that's what I think is so important about trading a strategy, because I could look back at this confidently, and I could say I would not change a thing, right? The only thing I would change is maybe don't trade Netflix. That's really the only thing, right? Every other stock around this time was pushing higher, right? Apple pushing higher, Google pushing higher, Amazon pushing higher. Everything was sort of working with the market. I just picked the redheaded stepchild. That's really what it came down to. So unfortunate. Took my loss there on Netflix. I did like the setup a lot. Even sort of saw, a little bull flag into it, which was really nice. And yeah, shit happens, right? That's trading. So hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you again for being here. If you could press that like button before you head out, before you start your day, give the like button a press. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. We do this every single morning starting at 8 a.m. I do not have a course, no. I am considering doing like a little video library for people, like to review some educational videos. I guess it's sort of like a course, but I sort of just want to like have an area to have people can look at videos, like a little bit more in depth. Because when I make videos on YouTube, I have to really polish them, which is it's annoying. I like doing non-polished videos. Like I love the live stream. I love like just doing this off the top of my head. That's like what I love to do, because I can really talk about stocks. Like I know what I'm talking about, and it's very easy. It's like it flows, right? And sometimes making videos, you sort of feel like pressured to make it polished. So I want to create something of value for education that's less polished and not on YouTube, that I don't need to worry about, retention times and thumbnails and all this, stuff to try to get views. I sort of just want to do like an educational thing for people. So I'm working on something, trying to help some way, but we'll see. It's also a lot of time to make YouTube videos Tuesday and Thursday, live stream every morning, and then make additional content on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So pretty much every day of my life, I'm making 2 videos, a live stream and a video. It's a lot, but I enjoy it. So it is what it is, right? I enjoy it. That's why I'm here. I wouldn't be here if I didn't enjoy it. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you mañana. Adios. Adios, muchachos y muchachas. Yaya. Yaya. Yaya.